All right, welcome everyone. We are now in Unit 4 and Outcome 2, and we're looking at change management. So well done on everyone for getting here, and there is not long to go, which is a bit daunting but pretty exciting also. Now, so we're looking at organisational change. That's what this whole outcome is about. And first of all, we just look at what organisational change is, and essentially it's just where an organisation adopts a new idea or a new behaviour. That changes often due to changes if an organisation can foresee a change that comes from the internal or the external environment. So we'll get into what those pressures are from the external and the internal environment and how they force change, but just at the moment we just need to look at what change is. Organisations or managers can either be proactive or reactive in change, and it's better to be proactive. So if an organisation can foresee a change, it's better that they do that and then can adapt to it before it actually happens, and then being reactive. So we're going to talk pretty much throughout this whole outcome about how organisations can be proactive and the importance of that, because then they're not left behind, they're not just reacting all the time. So because especially in the dynamic environment that Australian businesses are in now because of globalisation, it's really important to be proactive and foresee technology changes, their competitors coming out from offshore, what are our wage costs going to be in the future. All those kind of things will enable an organisation to be proactive. And changes can be large or small. So when we're talking about change, it can be anything. The reason change is a big topic that we need to cover is because it's difficult to actually change, because humans, when we're dealing with humans, they don't like it traditionally. So as a general rule, humans don't like change. And so when we change something, we need to try and make it a little bit easier on them, and we need to make changes that are actually going to help the organisation. So they can be large or small. So when we're talking about change, don't just think about large ones, they can be just small things. So here's some examples. There's a large one, a restructure. So Department of Human Services recently, within the last 12 months, has gone through a restructure where they used to structure up as 8 regions. They got rid of those regions and they're now into 4 divisions. It can be a merger. That's another large change where AOL and Time Warner, they joined together. We'll get into what mergers are later on. It can be a small thing like a change in process where you used to record something on paper and now it has to be recorded onto an intranet or something like that, some form of recording on computer. So just a change in process. Change in manager, that obviously happens quite regularly. Can be a change with the employees you're dealing with, but change in manager, so someone there that's quite autocratic, and then you get someone that's participative. What happens if it's the other way around? You're used to being with a participative manager, and then all of a sudden someone comes in and they're being really autocratic. So the changes can be large, small, and anything in between. So just to recap, this video is just about what organisational change is, and so it's just about an organisation adopting a new idea or behaviour that's normally forced upon them or are going to be forced upon them through forces in the internal and external environment. And organisations can be proactive or reactive, and it's really important that they're proactive. They can try and foresee these changes that are going to occur or the forces that are going to influence the organisation, and then they can adapt to it rather than taking a hit and then changing after that, because then another change is going to come along and they're going to have to react to that. And change can be large or small. So when you're thinking about change, don't be always thinking about these really big changes. Small changes like a change in laptop or something like that can be it can really influence the culture of the organisation. So no matter how large or small, change needs to be managed well.